what you can do inside of Azulio, check this out. You are now able to edit all of this information here. You have a whole host of templates already available to you to leverage. All right. I am going to get rolling this morning. Happy Wednesday. Today I want to go through two areas of Azulio that we get a lot of questions around, and I think it could really help highlight how you can operationalize some of these activities while driving a high personal touch. So let me start by sharing my screen here. So you should be seeing right now my screen here in Azulio and our social planner. So if you're following along and that's how you like to learn some things, click on marketing on the side there. So what that's going to expose to you is what you're seeing on my screen. Now, if you've been posting content already using this, you're going to see something like this, but it's going to say what you've been posting and your face, obviously. So you're seeing what some of the content we put out here at Azulio. If it's blank, this is absolutely for you today. And the goal here is to get you comfortable using the social planner. And I'm going to show you some little tips and tricks to use it in Azulio, and then how we can amplify that if you want to step outside of Azulio and create some content. And then I'm also going to walk through the email program and how you can put together campaigns and use some targeted content, including some of the templates that are already available to you. Okay. So let me just kind of orient you to what you're looking at here today. This is our social planner. This allows you to connect all your social accounts. So if you want to add, click add. What you can see here is we've got our company accounts already connected. We've got Matt's personal accounts. We've got mine. So if I click all, it'll post out to all of these accounts, including our YouTube. Excuse me. Got the hiccups here. That's how you start the process here. Okay. So just to orient you here, this shows you all the accounts that you have available, and you can add more here. You see your schedule and what you've either posted out as published or scheduled, as you see here. And obviously clicking on the three dots allows you some options. If you've scheduled something and you want to edit it, you can quickly jump in today and change it, and maybe change the date or change some of the context. You can see everything that's posted. Everything has a good record. You can see some of the content that you've got recurring, whether you've got comments on there. You can see we've got 17 that have come through Instagram. We see a lot higher engagement on the Instagram than we do on the other platforms for, quick responses. But I want you guys thinking about what channels or what platforms you like to speak into, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. And then a wealth of statistics that come across for you. This is really just like the last rolling 7 days to give you an idea. It looks like for us, Tuesdays have historically, as we check in on this, what we see is Tuesdays tend to be high engagement. Not fully sure why that is. I would think sometimes folks would be on like a Monday midday checking stuff, but Tuesday is a good day for what we see some engagement. And some of the platforms return more data than others. So just taking a look at this, you can see the impressions. We're growing. These are just metrics for you to start seeing what's happening behind the scenes. And you can see I like to post on LinkedIn, and I'll tell you why about that in a minute. For reaching out to clients who are scrolling, Instagram is great, and really encourage you all to use that. But I'll talk a little bit about each of the platforms here in a minute and what you're going to be trying to do to target to them. So if you're a metrics person like I am and you like to geek out on this stuff, this is what I like to see. I like to see green and up. TikTok is down here. Boo. All right. So you've got your stats, you've got your social listening, social trends here, what's happening, kind of gives you a roll up here as to what's happening on respective platforms. And if you want to play with some of the settings in the background, you can do. So looks like we have to update our Azulio. I won't do that right now on this account, but if they hit that countdown, you'll notice that most of the platforms are a 60-day. So you'll have to come in here and refresh that. That's really like a security and privacy reason, because Azulio is a third party connecting with your social media account. So they'll give you typically a token that's good for 60 days. You come in and click refresh and go back. All right. Let's talk here about creating a post and where you want to create posts. So take a step back and just pause for a second and think about the kind of content you like to put out. Each of you here has a different voice. So for example, you'll see Matt posting more on Instagram and Facebook. I tend to post on LinkedIn. The content that I like to put out is typically a little bit more long form. So I like to talk about economics. I like to talk about the housing market. I like to talk about what we're doing to support our clients. And I get really passionate about those things. And I'm not personally a video guy. I like to write that out long form. Okay. That's great for LinkedIn. My style does not fit well with Instagram. Okay. So Instagram, photos, reels, short videos. Okay. TikTok, the same, short videos. So you want to align, if you're going to pick a channel to speak into, you want to align with that given channel. So if I was into videos and short form content, Instagram would be my place to post. Similarly, so would Facebook. For folks who are looking to use their social media to gain clients, you also have to think about the audience that you're going after. And so you may say, I really like long form, Rob, as well. And I'd say, great. You know who's spending a lot of time on LinkedIn? Business professionals. So gear your targeted content to folks who may be middle management through to executives. And maybe you're talking about trends you're seeing in your given neighborhoods that you focus on or markets. And you're speaking at a slightly, maybe like a portfolio management or a, where are you moving in life type concept. On your Instagram, think about what people are doing on there. They're there being entertained, right? So you'll see a lot of the fun content is short form, engaging, presents yourself or something that's taking place. Maybe you're doing a listing or you're doing a market update report. You're keeping it dynamic. You can do all of that through here, but I don't want you to think that it's the same content across every channel because you have to think about who's receiving that and what they're doing. So if I pick up my phone for a minute, I don't know if you all see me, I'm going to be scrolling on Instagram, looking at stuff, something that catches my attention. I'm going to watch it. On LinkedIn, it's a slightly different experience. It's like a mix between mobile and browser based. A lot of business folks will have it open during the business day. You know, they're kind of doing some of their business on there. They might be connecting, reaching out to somebody. LinkedIn also does a great job on their mobile app, but it tends to clearly be a mix. And so the format tends to be long form so that you can scroll reading content. And what they found, obviously on Instagram, you've got a good number of auto captions. What they found on LinkedIn, for example, is people do like reading content, and videos that don't have good captions, they don't get much engagement. So think about what you're constructing for your audience. And now let's just go through what creating a post and scheduling it out is and what tools are available to you. Some of the items we have previously covered. So I'm going to touch on those elements. And if you haven't seen how we do like market data reports using Manus and putting that together, we have that content available. So today I'm not going to dive into all of that, but I am going to show you how to better manage your content and work through creating a schedule. So the goal here is you're a little overwhelmed maybe with social media, or you're doing it manually and you want to get a system together. Social planner and how we do that. All right. So let's create a new post. I have to select social accounts. Now, for the purposes of this conversation, I'm going to show two aspects, but I'm just going to pick all of our company accounts. And what you'll notice is that I now see what it'll look like across all of the accounts. Okay. So this makes a lot of sense if I'm going to have some video. If I'm posting written content, not the right channel to try to get it on YouTube, right? Like we're doing video content there. Same thing with TikTok. If some of the content can be made into images for reels on Instagram, you're golden. But just remember that some of the content you might be putting out does not meet all the channels. Long form video, not great for LinkedIn, for example. Long form video, great for YouTube. Short form content, obviously Instagram, Facebook. YouTube has also got the shorts, so you can go there. Today, I'm just going to do a LinkedIn post. So I'm going to skinny this down to show you guys some features. as we go. But right now I'm going to leave this open so we can see how that gets built out. So I can show you how you can edit for each. All right. So I'm going to do something, and this is not necessarily market accurate right now, but what I want to do is I want to show you what you can do inside of Azulio. And if you were using another tool like we've talked about, either Claude or Manus, to do some additional reports that you wanted to put out an opinion piece on, you can do so. But check this out. All right. So I want to generate some content. I want to put out, I like the Georgetown area. Heather and I spend a fair bit of time up there. The square is great. Folks are moving there. So let's just talk about Georgetown for a second. And I am going to talk in my Azulio voice, branded voice here. And I want to keep my tone professional. You can change it. And so built into Azulio is content creation. So let's take a look at this. And let's do something like fun market update for Georgetown, Texas. I'm surprised by the number of buyers coming into the market just after the holidays. We've seen a sizable grab my screen there. Sizable increase in buyers. This might be a pivot in the market, but could also be some pent-up demand as rates have softened slightly. All right. So that's my little summary. You have to fill this in with more specifics about, I'm just trying to give you something generic. Okay, so what's the goal for this post? I want to draw attention to the market changes towards the end of January, prepping for my full market report. I want to encourage folks who might be considering selling their house in Georgetown that maybe waiting until the spring isn't needed. Why am I doing that? Say I'm a listing agent. I want to encourage folks to start talking to me about listing their home now, so we're not waiting. All right. I can set the number of variations. It's going to try to write that a few times. And do I additional instruction for most? I don't have any additional instruction. Well, let's do that. Yes. Let's include my brand, Bolton. Now, you can obviously do this outside in your favorite LLM, Claude, GPT. I personally like Claude. It writes and thinks more like I do. But I also wanted to show you guys the power inside of Azulio. And so I'm going to build this with you here. Let's just give it a second. Of course, it takes longer while you're all watching than when I normally do this. I know. Oh, wow. Look at my typos. Forgive me on that. Of course, that happens when everyone's watching. But if you know me, I am the king of typos. All right, great. I have put together a little post here. Attention small business owners. Well, that doesn't really quite work for me. Let's fix that up. All right. With interest rates easing up, buyer interest is climbing. I like to take out little dashes. Okay. Now is a smart time to evaluate your next move. Okay. Let's clean this up. Georgetown, Texas market news. Post-holiday season brought a wave of new buyers into the market. I'm going to change that. I don't like to say real estate market. I'm just going to say the market. The market. My team has seen good increase in folks seeking their next home. All right. I like to format that a little better. It's a little easier. Okay, let's continue. All right. Now I need a fun picture. How do I do that? Oh my gosh. Let's do that right over here. Let's take a look. I like that one. Um, let's regenerate though. Let's just see what happens. Do it again. Let's go with 3 options this time. What's really cool is you can do this, or if someone on your team can do this, I'll show you how they can schedule it for your approval. Um, I kind of like that. I like that one. All right. I'm going with that. Actually, that looks very, man, I can't believe that's AI. That looks like I've seen that house, but I haven't seen that house. Okay. All right. So you can see there's a couple thoughts here. I've gone short. This is, for example, you could drop in more content, to tweak it to your language or what you're trying to achieve here. What I'm trying to show you is that it's very easy to build content to get yourself out. You want to have some frequency, not be the overwhelming folks with information, but also touching them on a regular basis so they see you posting content. Algorithms like some consistency. Folks will say, man, I've seen you every week. Like I'm on there. I recognize you. It's like, so occasionally, sometimes I'll meet folks on business and they'll say, Rob, I swear we've met. And what I've started to realize is we've never actually met. They've just seen my face in their feed so often that they believe we've met. Okay. So I can also do this, customize for each channel. This is a cool feature. Okay. So this will allow you, this is obviously telling me I can't use my YouTube. So let's pull this out. It's telling me I can't do YouTube. I'm gonna pull TikTok out. All right. Customize for each channel. When you enable this, I want to show you this feature here. You can go in and you can start editing it. So on here on the left, you'll notice that when I click Facebook over here or Instagram over here, it mapped. So I'm seeing the preview here on the right. And then on the left, I can post. My suggestion on the Instagram is that this text, that's not all going to get read. Facebook, LinkedIn, if you've got got a Google account, better format, make that a little shorter. So let's shorten this up. Post holiday season has brought a wave of new buyers. My team has seen a good increase in folks looking for a home. Let's just shorten this up. Considering a move could benefit. I don't like business plans at all. So let's get that out of there. I don't want to say business plans. Benefit your consider a move. We'll think about how your real estate. Considering a move or thinking about buying another home in 2026. Now's a smart time. All right. I like that. Now you'll notice it's different. Go back. Ooh, see what happened here? Confirm. All right. So I'm going to edit this. I realize I don't want to do all of those. I am going to cut this down one more and then I'm going to edit them. I'm going to take out, I'll keep that and let's do that. I'll do the Facebook. All right. I'm not going to do the Facebook just for the point of our conversation here. Post holiday season. Do I like this? With interest rates easing up, either way, the energy is unmistakable. Okay. I like this. I'll just hold this for the sake of our example. But I definitely want on Instagram for it to be shorter. Post holiday season has brought a wave of new buyers into the market. I'm going to take that out. And I'm just going to go shorter form here. Considering a move or thinking of buying another home in 26, now is a smart time to evaluate. Want to discuss your options? Reach out today and let's build your strategy. Okay, there we go. All right, now here's a fun feature down here. I hope you all can see. You can post right away. I suggest you schedule your post. And when you go to schedule your post, another cool feature is it's going to look at when folks are engaging with your social media and recommend times for highest engagement. And you can schedule out. That's fun. If you're having a team member do this for you, send post for approval. That would allow you to say you had one of your folks on your team, maybe it's a VA, they're building content for you, post for approval. Maybe they're new to the team, or maybe you want to approve everything that goes out. Select this feature. Okay. If you have something that's recurring, let's say you have a friend of ours has a barbecue every Friday afternoon, same time, same place, like clockwork. Okay. You can schedule a recurring post. So say this wasn't about the market changing and you're getting ready to tell them that at the end of January, you're going to have a market report because there's some themes you want to build here. And I'll touch on that here in a second. But let's say you had a recurring event. You can set up a recurring post and you can set the frequency for that. And it's going to come up here, how often you want it. You can also use that if you're trying to promote an open house. Okay. So just think about if you're building that up, what date ranges and how frequently you'd want that to run. Be mindful that you don't like, it's not going to let you do it every hour and you wouldn't want that day, maybe every other day. That kind of thing is good. And think about the time frame. Just think as you're putting this content out, think about who would be on the receiving side. And if you would like to see the same message every day, if that would be beneficial, then do so. If you think that might be a little much, just remember you have an audience you're connected with and they're receiving your communications. Okay, I'm not going to schedule that right now. This could be swapped out for anything you're doing. You could also link it to a market report, or you could say something like, well, it might be better accurate. Can't wait to share my full market report in a week. Stay tuned. Okay. Another fun one there is if you add something like that, someone reads this and says, okay, maybe I'm not going to do anything right now, but Rob just told me there's something coming in a week. Why do I mention that? Typically, it takes between 4, 8, and sometimes 12 touches before someone makes a decision to move forward. And so part of what you're doing by putting out consistent social media content that's relevant, speaks to what you're excited about. Everyone has their own, voice and tone. So nothing that I'm saying here, don't just go and repeat this unless, it resonates with you or how you like to speak to folks. But putting out that content. Another tidbit is, let's just say you're really big on Instagram and I'm here at the office right now. Maybe not the best spot you'd think to post some content. I'm going to challenge you on that. One, live real content people receive well. Some of the best engagement is some of the lowest production quality content we've put out. And I say that like almost slightly embarrassed, but like if we do a professional screen share, we do some high grade video content, it looks and feels sometimes a little manufactured. If we do I'm talking to you and then I'm going to show you my screen and flip back to looking at my face, high quality content. So don't limit yourself based on where you're at. I would say you're also likely doing walkthroughs for homes. Maybe if you're doing buyers, if you're taking listing appointments, if you have an opportunity to pull out your phone and shoot some content, it doesn't have to be long and you can make it engaging and you can add that to your post. So let's just, for example, say you were at a listing appointment, and you had an opportunity to do a quick walkthrough and you just wanted to add something like this is the third Georgetown home I'm seeing come on the market. I'm seeing a lot more interest happening in January than I would have expected. Look at this beautiful home, right? You've shot some content, send that maybe to your assistant or you doing it yourself like I'm showing you here. And so now you've combined some written content with a little bit of video content. That makes it easier for you to go cross channels. Okay. So the goal here, and I'm slowing this down for folks, but I can tell you that we keep a week or so out with a couple hours a week. So what you'll end up doing is I'm going to go back here. What I encourage you to do is every week sit down and take an hour or two or assign it to someone on your team to say, I always want to have a week of content out there. Just think of that as nurturing your audience. Some folks are going to post a couple times a day. That's fine. Some folks are only going to be able to schedule enough content so they're posting a couple times a week. Don't let the inability to post every day stop you from posting once a week. Don't let the fact that you can only post once a week stop you from putting something out, right? You want to be out there. It's a free opportunity to engage. Make sure the content's relevant. If you have something to link to, if you say have a blog that you're posting up for other content, feel free to promote an article that you've just written or something interesting. If you're doing free local reports on a neighborhood and you've got an update for that, send that out. All of this stuff that you're doing today can normally be tweaked so that you can share it on your social. So with that, that's your social planner. And if you're not doing one post on a platform you enjoy posting on today, please get that set up. Like Sunday afternoon for an hour, put something out, get some traction. I like LinkedIn. Matt likes Instagram. We speak to slightly different folks. You're going to find more buyer leads on Instagram is my experience, in the data that we're seeing. So there's just more opportunity with people scrolling, broader audience. Your LinkedIn is going to be largely who you're connected with, plus some of the folks who then comment on it. So it just gets shared out a little differently. And then if you're thinking about how you manage your engagement and you're trying to figure out what metrics you should be looking at, the platforms generally follow a rule, regardless of which one you're talking about, is that they scale the rollout. So like they'll expose it to 50 people, measure the engagement, then expose it to more folks, measure the engagement, 500, 1,000, 10,000, that's how things go viral, so to speak, is that as they continue to open up the aperture from a small set of people to who you know, to more of who you know, and some folks who might be interested in that content, to everyone who's interested in that content and very few people that you're actually connected with, they're measuring the engagement because, of course, think about what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep you on the platform with content that interests you. So that's social media and how you can use the planner to build content out. Highly encourage you all to cover some of this every week. Pull up some of the content you're already creating for a listing presentation. Just think about how you could use that to provide some educational information. Less on the selling side is what I encourage. People are using it to be educated and then drawn in. A fun one might be, of course, if you've got a new listing, obviously, that makes a lot of sense. If you have a fun story that's very personable, let's just say you were able to get a buyer into the home that they had never imagined possible, right? And you've got photos of that or some video content from the experience, and it's like a feel-good story. Those are also great, right? Like, so think about it from the perspective, like we do this every day. And a lot of the folks consuming your content are going to be agents as well. Okay. That's just the truth of it. But your target audience is not doing this every day. They're not in buying and selling homes every day like you all are. So just think about the content that would resonate with them. You know, one of the things that we hear a lot of, is it really a good time to buy a house? Is it a good time to sell a house? You can handle some of those objections through education. It's always a great time. I've got a friend, he's buying a little less than 4 acres just outside of Dallas. And he called me and he said, Rob, is it a good time to buy a house. And I said, well, you've got a second kiddo on the way. Like, this isn't whether you buy Tesla at the right or wrong time. This is a good move for you and the family, right? Yeah. All right. Well, like that folks want some reassurance. Maybe you can educate them that if they're in the home for the next 5 to 7 years, the market's a good time. It's a good time to buy. Prices are down a little bit. Rates are a little softer. It's a little better than it was a year ago. So, like, how are you educating folks to draw them in to create a funnel where they're approaching you? And then on the sell side, a lot of folks are like, oh man, it's a little softer. Well, speak to them about the opportunities that they have. And maybe there's kids moving off to college and they're in a big house. What do they want to do with that? And talk to them about that story. Pick on things that you like to speak to that maybe you naturally do today. Think about the conversations you're having and the education that you're giving your clients and start putting that out into your social media ecosystem. And you'll be amazed at how that draws people back in to talk to you. And it takes time. So none of this is click submit and go. This is build a track record where someone gets on. Like if you went into my LinkedIn, you'll see that I've got a ton of content and it hits probably the same 5 or 6 core topics with some personal stuff sprinkled in there. And that's over time. And so that draws folks in to know, what is Rob about? What is he interested in? Think of that in your sphere of, well, say I'm focusing on Instagram, for example. What are they seeing about you? Be mindful, mixing business and pleasure and how much of that you're doing. That's all your decision. But make it personable and relatable and educational and keep it a little exciting and engaging. My stuff on LinkedIn can be a little dry and humorous, and that attracts a certain type of individual. Think about who your clients are that you're speaking to today and go get more of that in your social media. And the goal here is to show you how easy it is to create content within the tools you have access to today, to schedule it, and it just costs you a little bit of time. Okay, let's talk about emails and managing those. Sometimes that can be a little overwhelming. I'm going to pivot on the social media here, but this is another fun one. You're probably already doing some sphere of influence campaigns with us today. If you're not, reach out. We can absolutely get on a call and show you all how to get that so that folks in your database are getting regular communications and appropriate communications from you. Today, I want to show you what setting up a simple campaign. Let's just say we had a open house, okay? And you wanted to let a group of folks that you know about this open house. So I'm still in my marketing. I'm going to go over to emails. All right. Now you're going to look at our delivery rate. You got metrics here. Our last campaign had a 56% open rate. That is unusually high. Don't think you're always going to get that high. Okay. You have metrics here for the different campaigns you've put out. What I want to show you is templates. You have a whole host of templates already available to you to leverage and make it really easy for you to put this together. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to find one of those templates. And I have a luxury, where's my little luxury listing here? Maybe I'll just open. Okay. Open house. I have cloned this. So you've got templates. So I'm just going to show you this luxury open house. Okay. You will see that you also have this. And while I was horsing around this morning, it looks like I cloned this. So let me tell you what I'm doing and you guys can repeat along. All right. So you should have this template here. When you click on it, that brings you into the template. Now, if you're not an EXP agent, we've likely changed your logo on your setup here to your brokerage. Okay. Right now, just for the topic of conversation, anyone who's not EXP, don't go, go check yours, be non-EXP. This one's for EXP luxury, which is a certain designation. Let's just continue along the conversation that I've got a luxury listing. I'm going to go back and I'm going to find that. I've made this a little complicated on myself, but you've got templates. Okay. This is really a template for you. You want to click clone. When you click clone, and I'm going to do that here, Ah, I am going to do open house, Rob, and I'm going to say 121. All right, today. Boom. Why am I cloning it? Because I'm going to edit it. All right. So now I have created an email template. I will then say, let's just call this 123 Banana Street, Banana Street. And I like Georgetown today. Heather's going to be after me. All right. You can get over here and you are now able to edit all of this information here. Okay. So let's just say it is going for 1.5. It is a 4-bedroom and it is 3.5 bath. And what do we got on square footage? That's a little high for the house. I'm thinking let's do 3750 acreage. We are definitely not on an acre. Let's do 0.78. Just making this up for fun. Okay. We've got an image carousel over here. You can change the images. You can edit everything you want on the side here as you touch different elements. You can see that things start changing over here. So want to make this really easy for you guys to edit this. If you want, you can see right here, view that property website. If you've stood up a branded domain for that website, you can plug that in here. If you don't, and it's on your website, I'm just for the sake of it, I am just going to go to Lone Wolf Realty Group here. This is Matt. Let's just, let's see, we've got a featured listing here. Okay. Ooh, we have something kind of in the zone. Not exactly, but all right. So say I wanted to direct folks to that from my email. I simply plop that in there. Okay. Now when they click that link, it'll go right to my website. Highly recommend you do that. Obviously, if you got some MLS information here, we'll prop that in. If you have a video of the property, really easy to then get that video URL. So let's say I had that on here. I do not have a video on this listing. This is coming in right from the IDX. But let's just say I did have a YouTube video. I can prop that in here, youtube.com/video. I'm just making this up. This is not actually a video URL, so it's going to give me an error. I don't have that video. What will happen then is that video will pop up right here for you. Our goal here is to make it really easy. Once you get in the rhythm of this, 5-10 minutes tops. We've got a place for you to drop in your property description, the contact first name. Don't change this. This will then populate to your contacts in your database. Okay. Anything else you want to change, you can down here. Some of these custom values that you're seeing there, you don't want to change unless there's a specific reason for you to do so. If you have any questions, always reach out to us. Okay. Happy to help you through this. So you'd upload your images, right? You can edit them right here. Add your images, pull them off. If I wanted to pull them off here, I can do so. I don't have great photos on this one. Forgive me. Not maybe the best example, but you can pull images off your listing, put them right into here. All right. Now I am going to save. I've made some changes to my template. Now I'm going to go back. Come on now. All right. And I am going to create a campaign. So my email is all set up. I'm going to create a campaign. This is where all the power happens. So I'm going to go a little slower. All my edits are already there. Send or schedule. Don't get nervous. The first time I saw this, I thought, who all is this sending to? It's not going to send anything right away. Oh, no, I'm kidding. It didn't actually do that. Okay. Didn't send anything. All right. Who are you sending this from? We're sending this from me. Let's get this to Azulio. All right. Subject line. New, exciting property just listed in GT. They call it GT sometime around here. Okay. Now, who all is this going to go to? I personally like using smart lists. What smart lists allow you to do is to target specific folks in your database so that maybe they're buyers, they're folks looking for a home. Okay. So you can also choose contacts. You've got pre-built segments. For the sake of today and the simplicity of this, smart lists tend to be the way that I think about emailing folks. When you click smart lists, you will then see all the smart lists you've created. Now, ironically, I'm just going to click Rob FL, Florida. Probably should say Rob GT. It's my Georgetown list. But for the sake of it, I've now then targeted that group. Now, there's 122 people in that group. I want to track clicks. Okay. Enable this setting here, UTM. I'm going to do that. Add tags. I'm going to do that. You can add conditional logic in here. Here's one thing that at first I was like, why would we do that? Well, I am going to resend it 12 hours if it's not opened. And I can change the subject line in case you missed it. New home in GT you might like. Verbiage you're choosing. Why do I do this? At first I thought, man, no one's going to want to get an email 12 hours later from me if they didn't open it the first time. The reality is this helps with folks like myself who get hundreds of emails, like you likely get hundreds of emails. Have you ever been on the phone with someone and they say, 1 second, let me just reply to put it to the top. Okay. Think of that as this feature here. So within a few minutes, we've put together an open house. Obviously, we got to drag those photos across. I could send it now, or I could schedule it. You can schedule it. Pick a date, pick a time. My suggestion here is pick a time in the middle of the day. That tends to work best. Probably like 10 to 7 p.m. would be my recommended time. If you're sending this out, just tends to be when people get on their phone or looking at emails, hustle bustle of the morning. Folks are going to miss it. Set these times up. You could set it one day after and not so that they get it the next day. Just depends on the urgency. You're going to get a preview of what is to send. Obviously, photos would be here and we have the video that would be there. What will be coming shortly is we're going to give you a spam likely score. So this will help. You know, if we're getting a high spam rate, you're going to find out that your emails just aren't going to get through. So one of the things that we don't talk enough about is sending versus deliverability. So folks will call us and say, I send out tens of thousands of emails a month and I don't get a lot of pull through on that or engagement. When we dive into the numbers, we'll often find folks who are sending at high volume with low engagement. It can normally be one of two things. One, the content's not compelling. You know, that can obviously be a miss. So don't want to discount that. But the second and almost equal or more often the case is that they've got deliverability issues. And so they're not making it into the inbox like they think they're making it. And so they're spending the time and money. Okay. Not so good. So shortly we'll have that for you guys. So look out for that. You can preview it in the browser. You can also send a test email to yourself if you want to see how this would show up for a client. So you can see it on your phone or on your desktop app or browser to see how that works. And so the goal here is make it really easy for you. There's a ton of templates. So if you have any questions on that, reach out to us. Now, this part I think is a little less complicated than the social media. But what I want to remind everyone on this call, I'm going to save this. Actually, I'm just going to remove those because I don't want anyone to accidentally come in here and send those out. So let me take that out for a second. Clear. I could have cleared myself. Okay. For the sake of this, I'm just going to click save so we can use this later. But let's just say you were doing one of these, you're doing it right now, following along with me, and you're not quite sure what to do next. Or maybe you're watching this later and you're like, Rob, this is great, but I am having a little bit of trouble. And I'm not quite sure that I followed the instructions properly. You've got this little icon up here. Grab it. Okay. If anything comes up and you want to quickly search for content that we've talked about here today, you can do so. If you're like me, and I'll be honest, everyone can laugh at me, I'll skim the document, think I've got it figured out, get started, and then bump into it. And really what I need is like someone to just correct me with like 2 minutes of insight. Click messages. This gets you live access to our team. They're available to you around the clock. So whether you or a team member are doing this, this is there for you to use right now. And I want to encourage you. You put in your contact information, account name, what you're doing, and you click submit. AI is going to try to answer the question first right there for you to get you going. If that answers your question, good. If that doesn't answer your question and you need a little bit more help, ask to speak to a human. And one of our team members, you see them all up here, they're going to jump on with you and try to either triage it via text through the chat window here, or ask them to jump on a Zoom call and you can screen share and they'll literally walk you through. So just as you guys do that, just be like, hey, I'm following, setting up an email campaign. I've gotten this far. Here's what I'm trying to do. I think I've missed a step. Team member is going to say, let's see your screen. Let's walk me through where you're at, and they'll help you get that set up. Same thing for any of the social media content. Let's just say you're on your social media planner and for whatever reason, I'm just saying, like, let's just say you click refresh here for a second and it didn't quite work. And you're like, oh man, this should be simpler. Jump up here, get the chat started, get on a Zoom, screen share. The team is there to help you move fast. So whether that is you or a team member or a VA team member that's overseas, around the clock, ready for you to help smooth things out. So today, just to recap, walked through the social planner, and the goal here is to speak across the channels, schedule content, have some frequency, even if it's once a week, do once a week, but carve out some time. Key takeaway is carve out some time, an hour or two a week, use content that you're already creating, or be intentional if you're at an open house or a listing presentation or buyer consult, wherever you're at. Record some content, create some content, use some content you already have to start posting on a regular basis. And every week, sit down and try to get one or two things scheduled. If you have more content than that, get it all scheduled out. Carve out some time every week. This is efficient. We can also talk about how we can turn on workflows if you don't already have them turned on for when people engage. AI can then interact with people who express interest and get them brought in. We can do another session on that. Huge opportunity for folks who say social media is overwhelming to me. I'm not quite sure how to leverage it to grow my business. I don't have the time to be posting on there every day. Good news, you don't have to do that. We covered that. On the email, tons of templates inside the system here for you to use to promote listings, stay engaged, do seller reports. It's all there. Rewatch that about how to set up a little campaign to get that out. You've obviously got workflows that automatically trigger other email content. So that's a different conversation. This is specific to something you're trying to promote. Find that template. There's a whole host of them in here. Clone it, edit it, create a campaign from it. There's also ways if you want to create your own, you can create your own email from AI. I'm about to run out of time. That's a slightly different conversation, but play around with it. You can't do anything wrong. Always suggest testing it with yourself first. And then, if you have a database of 15 or 20,000 people, great power comes great responsibility. Just a caution, don't email all 15,000 just at once. Break them into targeted smart lists. My experience has been that you want to test it a couple times with yourself and a smaller group on engagement, and then roll it out to a broader audience to make sure you've tuned your message. And then last but not least, just a little repeat, support right up here, jumping in real time with you. We'll get on a Zoom call and you can engage with them. If you have any bigger requests, we've got our support channel over here. I'll remind you about that. So you've got anything that's not solvable in just a few minutes, and you've got a broader request that you want done. Like, let's just say you're watching this and you're saying, I don't think I have my sphere of influence workflows turned on. I would like to do that. I've got onboarded and I've got going, and I didn't focus on sphere of influence. I'm doing new buyer leads. Okay, great. Drop over here. Let us know who you are and what you're trying to achieve. A team member will get a notification same day or early the following day. We'll reach out. And if it's simply turning on some workflows, we'll do that and align with you on the timing. Otherwise, we'd suggest jumping on a quick call and saying, hey, this is what we think we've got a request from you. This is how we do it. Does that look good? Is there any changes? And get you up and rolling. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you guys see the power of two great tool sets that are at your disposal, ready to go now. I don't want anyone to be intimidated by this. The social media is fun to play with and get content going. The email templates are really easy to use. A lot of content already there for you. Also check out the seller updates so that you can give them progress reports. That's a fun one there too. Always recommend emailing that, and then of course having a scheduled call afterwards. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday. And if you guys have any direct questions, reach out to us. Hit us up on support or email us support@azulio.ai, or of course, jump on with one of our team members in chat. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care.
Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay ahead going into 2026 with Matthew Kemps.